Welcome to Shepherd of the Hills, Faith at Work. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are so glad that you are here for this faith conversation series that we are doing called Faith at Work. We are at Baranoff Elementary School on Gatling Gun Road here in South Austin, and I have with me a very special guest, a special member of Shepherd of the Hills, Jane Tackett. So welcome, Jane. So glad that you are here, and thank you for agreeing to do this with me. Jane has become a good pickleball friend over these years as well. So thank you for this opportunity to visit with you in a very interesting and challenging time that we live in. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. So just to lead off, Jane, just tell us a little bit about what you do. What's your job?
Well, I am one of the school counselors here at Baranoff. We have about 850 kids this year, and so there's two of us that get to work with the kiddos. Basically, the way I describe my job is that we work with, we help kids. We help teachers, we help parents, we help principals, whoever needs our help for whatever they need to help them be successful at school.
So you're kind of a bridge to a lot of
different things.
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes it's just having a talk with the kids, sometimes it's helping them to get therapy services or something outside of school.
Yeah.
But we do lessons with whole classes, we do small group lessons, and we also talk with kids individually.
So how long have you done this for anyway?
This is my 8th year at Baranoff. I had 1 year at another school as a counselor, and then I had 20 years in the classroom teaching 1st through 5th grade during those 20 years.
Oh, okay. Awesome. That's great. So do you have a specific kind of age group that you work with, or do you work with the whole school?
Here I work with from kinder through 5th grade.
Okay.
I get to cover the little ones that are hysterical and, and can be hysterical, and the big ones that you can talk to and work a little more logically with.
Yeah.
But the whole spectrum, and that's what makes it fun, is you never know what each day is going to bring.
Right. Yeah. Good. So just tell me a little bit about what led you to do this. How did this kind of career path unfold for you?
Well, in high school, I did a lot of babysitting and watching kids, and that just seemed to be the most comfortable place. My mom was a teacher, so I spent lots of time after school at schools, and working with kids was it always came easy to me. But after 20 years in the classroom, I was getting a little frustrated with some of the demands on education and on because they were asking for so many different things, and they weren't really taking the kiddos, the social emotional piece as seriously. And my mom, who had switched from the classroom to being a counselor, she and I would talk every day about those frustrations, and she was dealing with the emotional side of the kids, and that was what she was like, this is what you should be doing, this is what you want to do. And so I ended up taking a year off, getting my master's, and switching to the counseling.
Yeah. So what was it? Was it just because teaching had been so focused on teaching to test scores and testing that
a lot of it was test scores, and it felt like I was supposed to tell the kids, leave whatever your problems are, leave them at the door, because I've got to get this math down your throat. I got to get this science through you. And it just became frustrating to do that. So I made that switch.
So in some ways, your career path is the same. I mean, it's an education, but it shifted a little bit just out of, just some of that frustration, but also wanting to do what you want to do with education.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to help the kids become better human beings and not be so stuck on just the academics only.
Right. So paying attention to the social, emotional kind of component.
Right.
of a child. Yeah, it's good. So, what is it that you love about what you do? I mean, what are those things that just kind of make you smile or make your heart happy?
Well, some of it is things that's going to be different when we come back, like the hugs and the high fives and when I walk through the hallways here, I feel like a rock star because all the kids are calling my name and I'm high fiving them and all that sort of stuff. And just they feel like I'm helping them, and I love to help. So when I can get a smile out of somebody who was upset or help them work through a problem, it fills my heart.
Yeah.
And that's for big people as well as little. When I'm helping teachers or whoever, it makes me feel good.
Yeah. I think that what I hear you saying is exactly kind of what we're focusing on in this series, which is that our work is our vocation, and vocation it's more than just a job; it's a calling.
Absolutely.
And I think that how would you differentiate between sort of this job and a calling?
I think it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, I really, a lot of times when before I talk to a kid in my head, I'm thinking, God, just give me the right words. We have a moment of silence every morning after the pledges, and in there I'm saying, God, work to me, in me, and through me. Help me get the words, because sometimes I don't know how to solve the problem. I don't know what to do, but I'm amazed because something will come out of my mouth and I'll be like, wow, that was, and I really don't think it's just me. I think it's God working through me.
Yeah. That's really cool because, sometimes I think when we think about faith and talking about God, that we think that it's always about a lot of God talk instead of just seeing how God is at work in the midst of our situations, in the midst of our daily kind of life.
Right.
Do you have any kind of examples of those things where you've just kind of felt the presence of God at work in a situation that was maybe a tough one or a conflictual one or whatever it might be?
Actually, I do have a really good one. I had this in mind when you gave me some questions before this. The first year I was working here, I was really feeling like I have no idea what I'm doing. I was, so new to it. I had a 5th grade student that was crying. She came into my office, and the teacher was like, "Can you talk to her?" And I was like, "Sure, okay." She comes in and she's crying and crying, and I'm, what's going on? I don't know. Like, did something happen? Did somebody do something to you? I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, and really she couldn't put into words what was going on. And so in my office, I have a window, and it was in the afternoon, the sun was coming in, and there was like this sunspot on the rug. And I was like, do you want to just go sit in the sunspot? Like you can be like a cat and just sit in the sunspot and chill. And I'll just be sitting here on the computer, and you can come in or whenever you want to talk about it, just come on over and let me know. So she went over there, and I hear the tears, and then they became less and less and less. And then she comes over, and she's like, are you okay? How are you doing? And she's like, I'm okay. Do you want to talk about it? No. Like, are you ready to go back to class? Uh-huh. Okay. She's like, you're the best counselor in the world, and left. And I'm like, what was that? Like, I didn't do anything except for give her some space, I guess, and I don't know.
Provided a sunspot.
I've provided a sunspot, which I've never done since then. I never did before. But the next day I ran into her mom in the hallway, and her mom said, I talked to your daughter. She said, you could not have done anything better because she thinks she was a cat in a former life. And I'm like, God, it was all God, because I didn't know that. But I love that story just because it shows how, God's using me. And that's all I can do.
I think what we see so oftentimes in people's work and vocation is that it's that kind of ministry of presence, of just being present with people.
Mm-hmm.
and just being there for
Mhm.
people, and not even always the words that we're saying, but just
Right.
the presence
Yeah.
of being there.
I'll tell kids I never am going to make you talk to me, but I'm always here if you want to talk to me. And sometimes they just need that space. And
Right.
right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you see as some of the real challenges that our children are facing these days? I mean, just as you kind of observe and have observed over the years.
I think one of the bigger things lately, or in the last 10 years, because I don't really remember it as much when I was in the classroom, but kids seem more anxious about things. They're not as good at problem solving on their own. It's a lot of friends problems, or they are struggling in a subject and they don't want to do it. They want to stop. And they build up such anxiety about math that they can't do it. And it's like, so we're working a lot on techniques to breathe and calm down and take it one step at a time, kind of thing.
So do you do some parent education to help parents to respond to that in some ways?
Yes, we try to also make sure that parents know what we're teaching at school so they can reinforce it at home. That's going to be one of our big goals this year in particular, is helping with kind of the self-regulation. And we want to make sure the parents are on board with the same language that we're using and things, so that it will be across the board. Consistent, yeah. And we also I find, the more I teach it to them, the better I'm becoming at it too, because I'll get frustrated. I tell them all the time, I get frustrated too. So, I need to use these ideas, and it helps me to teach you so that I can remember them.
And is that kind of consistent way to respond? Is that also kind of integrated within for the teachers as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've had teachers and I've had parents that have said, my student or my child has come to me and said, "Come on, Miss Tackett," or whoever they're talking to, try I am in control, or trying different techniques. Lots of parents have said, "Yeah, my student has taught me this," and I'm like, "Great, they're taking it home. That's awesome."
So I'm feeding you some questions I didn't give you before, but what gives you personal satisfaction about this job? I know it's what you love, but what gives you just sort of a sense of that personal you walk away?
Well, anytime I can help, and when I have people tell me that whatever I did helped, that's why I do it, because I've always felt like I try to live by example. And so, listening to people, or just writing them notes here or there, or whatever it is, so that they feel they're important. Because really, that's the biggest thing all of us want, is to feel important and feel special. And so when I've done that to somebody else, it makes me feel better, feel good. So
what I kind of sense here, just in that, is that one of the things something that you do so wonderfully well is you provide a place of belonging and a sense of belonging, for the children, and probably for all those that you interact with as well. And that's an environment of that you create that really makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. So. And I have kids that they talk to me, and they don't really have other people to talk to, and they've told me that. So it's nice to be able to be an advocate for them and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that advocacy. That's cool. Mm-hmm. So how has Shepherd of the Hills been an important part of your life and helping you and supporting you in your vocation as well?
There's a lot of history with me,
yes.
Shepherd of the Hills.
It's getting
how
dark.
Long? How long do you have? Yeah. No, because I started babysitting people from Shepherd of the Hills when I was in middle school, high school, and worked with the youth group there. So that has helped give me even more experience with kids of all ages, working with the youth, and then being in the youth group myself, all of those things, it's just, I think it's given me foundation, a strong foundation, being at the same place for so long and having so many different experiences and having so many people be supportive. I mean, and then having some of the kids that go there now go to our school, so it's kind of fun to see them on Sunday mornings in a different place, and they'll come running and say hi and stuff like that. So, but there's a lot of memories and a lot of community built from Shepherd of the Hills for me.
So, I think in these times that we're in, with just all the challenges that we're facing with with COVID, with a lot of just upsetting times that we're facing. What do you think the role of the church can be within these times in terms of being an encouraging place for our families, for people out in their jobs and the workforce, and just the people that we interact with in our community?
I think the biggest thing is to have that community, building it in different ways, because things are going to be different, but trying to keep that connection between people, and then also just continuing to be the emphasis of hope, because so many things are going wrong right now. It seems like every day you turn on the news and you're like, another thing? What, another thing?
Right.
What? And to continue with hope and to continue connections. I mean, that's going to be what keeps us together to make it through.
So one of the things that I frequently finish a conversation with, or an interview, as I'm talking with people, is just the simple question: is there anything else? Is there anything else that maybe that you thought of, or whatever, that you would like to share at all today?
I guess the biggest thing is just, and I guess I kind of touched on it, is the fact that just how much Shepherd of the Hills has been a base for me, from youth to pickleball and things now. It's just really been a solid consistency for my faith, and then I feel like I live that out in other places. Sometimes I get bogged down when I see all the bad stuff going on in the world, and I think I can't change the whole world, but I can change maybe one person's world, which is what I'm doing here. I might be able to change one person at a time, but it's because I feel that foundation that has been built at Shepherd of the Hills.
Well, thank you for that, and thank you, Jane, and your family. Your family is such a wonderful part of Shepherd of the Hills, and we love your parents and love you, and just love just being able to share in this conversation today, and thank you for the courage to do it. And we appreciate really the wonderful ministry that you are doing, because I truly believe what you are doing and what people do in their workplace all the time is ministry, because God is present, working in the midst of that. And so we're thankful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad we could have this conversation,
Yeah.
no matter how nervous it was. I was to begin with.
No, that's great. So please join us for the next week as we get together and have another faith conversation in the topic of faith at work. And I hope that you found this just enjoyable, and as a way to relate to the stories, and certainly to understand that God is at work in our lives in all kinds of different ways, and ministry happens wherever we are at, whatever station in life we are at. So thank you once again for joining us, and may God bless your evening, and may God bless your week.